Aloha, ladies and gents, and welcome back to another episode of A Sense of Capital Crunch Time. Hopefully, the technical setup is working right now. And first and foremost, greetings to my colleague at YouTube, Alles Aktien, which is a German YouTube channel I strongly recommend. I know this guy for a longer period of time through a German stock board. And yeah, if you are interested and then maybe you are especially from Germany and you like the content, reach out to him and check out his content. I like it very much. Okay. So first of all, sorry for being late as always. And as you can hear, I have kind of a throat sore or whatever, and the head is a little bit burning. But I decided to guide today the press release or the earnings release of Alfen, the Dutch smart grid company. Why? Because I think actually that's not such a very solid bet. It's more a comeback, high risk story from my perspective of point. But I think there is so much potential left, and I recognize that a lot of you are located in former continents: South Africa, North America, no, South Africa, South America, North America, Asia, Arabia, and a lot of you are not located in Germany, not located in the EU, in Europe, and maybe therefore this stock could be a very special catch for you, and therefore I decided to go live today. As I mentioned, I hope the connection is good. To waste not too much time, I would suggest to step right into the briefing session about this company. However, as always, a quick disclaimer: this is no financial advice or investment consultation. There is no guarantee for correctness of the given data during the session. Make sure you know what you're doing with your own money and do your own due diligence. And yeah, that's it from the disclaimer perspective, I would say. Let's jump right into the actual stock. So, oh, that's not the right one. It is actually, but so there we go. There we go. Now it should work. It's currently it's currently how much is it? 7:55, 7:56 p.m. in the evening here in Europe, and so the earnings will get announced in very likely 3 minutes. So, however, I will stick to my plan and introduce you a little bit to the stock itself and give you an idea what is my what are my requirements and my targets for today's session and for the past quarter of Alfen. However, or maybe it's called Alfen in English, but I think in the Dutch area, which is close to Germany, it's very likely pronounced Alfen, I guess. Or however, just give you some information to the stock from my side. So basically, it's my number fourth ranked favorite stock I own with roughly 7,000 US dollars. I initially purchased it not that long ago, roughly 4 months ago in July this year. And basically, I just grabbed strongly the falling knife. There's nothing I can say differently here. So it was a very aware move. So it was nothing which was done by accident or whatever. And yeah, I'm not sure if I would do it again because obviously, or we will see it in a minute, the prices are way lower now. But however, I still like to be invested here, and you will see why that's the case actually. Honestly, I never guided earnings release session on Sunday evening. So I'm not sure what they will release, how they release it. I hope it's worth to have the session over here, but I prepared now some data. So if the earnings release itself wasn't worth it, maybe at least the briefing and introduction to the company it was maybe. Huh? And I hope, of course, wherever you are located, guys, I hope that you have somehow access to the stock if you might be convinced by it after your own further research. For me, it was the case after I figured out this kind of company is existing, and yeah, so here we are right now. Okay, guys, what is actually what is this company? So as you can see here, it's called Alfen. You can already see here there are three primary, and they only have primary basically product lines. So the original one is the one which is positioned in the middle. These are the substations and electrical transformer stations. Actually, the company itself is listed since March 2018 at the stock market, but the company itself was founded in 1937. So they are quite traditional, and electrical infrastructure supply was always more or less their business case. So this was something, this substations which survived through the years. Then they added, I think, let me check this, in 2008, the EV charging stations as another uh, product line, quite innovative, quite early adopting, and first moving without not too much competition. Why they have That's the reason why they have now quite a large client base, especially in the home market, Netherlands, but as well in other European countries. I think they are active in roughly 18 or something like this. 18 roughly, but don't nail me on it. Don't nail me on this. And furthermore, what you can see as the third and newest and youngest product line, the batteries. Yeah, the battery energy storage systems, BSS, how you call this officially, let's say it like this. Mm, And to give you an idea, I mean, we can just. Ooh, I dropped some water on the touchpad. That's not so good. I hope this will leave quickly. But just that you get an idea of how this looks. So we go into these smart grid solutions, into those substations, and as you can see, it's really some simple substations. I'm not sure how convenient those are in the US, for instance, but here in Europe, you see them everywhere if you keep your eyes open, of course. And if you are a shareholder of this company, I kept my eyes open the past months, so you can see them basically everywhere. So this is their original main product, and it is roughly 38% of the revenue. So keep it as 40% to keep it simple. 40% substations, not a large growth, 15, 20%. Compared to some legacy companies, maybe not that bad, but additionally not so amazing. Yeah, whatever. Um, in this year, when we talk about product innovations, they launched a new product, which is a very compact one to walk in, which is basically this one here. Yeah, so don't talk with me about these very specific details, but as you can see, it has a door that therefore it's a walk-in transformer station. So this was an innovation this year. And now we go to the star, let's say it like this. In the past years, the EV charging solutions, and they as well, I mean, they are more, and overall the company is very strongly B2B driven, not so much B2C driven. um, and so they sell those chargers here, not the very quick charger ones, super fast charger ones, just very regular ones. They sell it primarily to companies, for instance, or to electrical grid providers like Shell or whatever. This is how this looks, and they launched this year, not that long ago, here as well, some DC charging station solutions as well. So they enlarged their existing product portfolio. And this one here is again roughly 40%. I keep it very rough. Approximately 40% of the turnover of the revenue is done by the EV chargers. And they are as well, they grow very, very strongly in 2022 with roughly, I think, 140%, something like this, crazy, which resulted in a 2022 year-on-year revenue growth of 76 percentage. Yeah, so they reached a very high plateau, and of course, to keep this now is extremely difficult, and they admitted by themselves already this will not be the case. However, um, so these are the EV chargers, and what you need to know here as well, when we talk about substations, they are mid-strong on the medium level. When we talk about margin, and those here are strong, very strong in terms of margin. And now we come to the newest product line, product segment, and the weakest strength in margin, but in regard or in opposite, the strongest growth by far in the past quarters. and that's the battery energy storage systems, as you can see here. So here they have basically two different ones. I'm not sure why this is not updating, but they have a mobile one, which is just integrated in a regular feet-long container, smaller or longer version, which you can basically put on a truck, on a ship, or whatever, and use this for festivals, for construction sites. At the last Insights Time episode, I've mentioned that they now have some exclusive agreement with two Japanese companies which have machinery there for constructions which are driven by electric energy, and maybe they will cooperate and distribute the products, service them, whatever. So this mobile stuff has some different purposes which they can utilize for, and then we have the stationary solutions, which you can see here. You can see already in the background, quite small, but there are some wind farms visible. They can be connected as well, even to households. They can connect to the substation, or they need to be connected to the substation, but they can be connected as well to PV farms, yeah, so solar energy solutions, whatever. So as well, very B2B driven compared compared to regular private household EV parks, battery systems, EV charging solutions. The pricing is quite high, and we're always talking about a certain level of budget and investments which are connected to the deals which go over the table with Alfen. Maybe I've definitely some more information I can add over here, but just to give you an idea. So currently these battery energy storage systems, they cover 26, or let's say 20%, make it really simple, 20%, so 40, 40, 20% of their revenue. That's definitely the rising star, but as I mentioned, it's not that good, not that great for the margin. And yeah, there have been some challenged developments in terms of the EV chargers, wherefore they decreased strongly their sales, and the high margin products, EV chargers, decreased. At the same time, the BSS systems, the energy systems, they increased with a low margin, and you can make the calculation by yourself. This has definitely a very negative impact of the overall EBITDA margin level and of their long-term goals. But yeah, this is how it is. So you can see already, it's not like the day before yesterday, or compared to HIMS or Stone Co. That is such an easy earnings release. That's definitely not the case. It's quite challenging. I would not invest so much money in the stock, even if I am convinced by it and like the company very much and the products they provide, especially B2B and not B2C. Because just to give you an idea, I already prepared something. This is those are 3 different suppliers, vendors of grid solutions, electrical solutions, uh, and their numbers in the recent quarter earnings release. And I think my Wi-Fi is not working so well. Let me quickly check if that's for you the same case. I don't hope so. Wait one moment. Yeah. Thank you very much, Alles Aktien, for the update. Sorry that the stream is lagging a little bit. Uh, yeah, maybe I should pay my bill and recharge my phone. Maybe the next time it will work out better. However, I will definitely go through this call right now and manage it successfully. However, what I wanted to display to you is the earnings of 3 different players which are active as well in this business, or in the electrical business at least, but more B2C driven. As you can see here, Solar Edge, they missed their revenue, and not performing so convincing. And as well, Enphase and Solar Edge technology, hopefully it's getting updated soon. Let me see this. If not, I need to break to do a break through the stream and uh, supply Wi-Fi with another mobile device, because I think it's actually really bad at the moment. What is going on with the connection? Oh, not that great. Not that great at all. One moment, guys. Sorry. Give me a moment, please. I will push the brake pedal quickly and come back soon. Okay, guys. I hope I'm back. I hope you can see me right now. I just changed the hotspot. So back to business, as far as I can see it. Hopefully, at least. Ah, yeah, it looks good. It looks good. So, sorry, guys. However, let's go on with the actual stream. So, what I wanted to show you actually uh, was the performance of some other players in the solar and electrical, renewable, sustainable business. And as you can see, First Solar was quite solid, but still they missed by roughly 100 million the revenue. Then we got here another player which is called Enphase Energy. I think quite famous, and was get hit strongly, heavily. As you can see here, they already after the Q1 quarter, they already adjusted the guidance. Now they adjusted again the guidance. So and it is the sector overall is definitely under pressure. Nothing to negotiate about, and you can see here the same with another player in the sector, Solar Edge. I think it's a company located in Israel, but not 100% sure. And of course, there's additional headwind existing. But however, as you can see here, basically the same development when you compare it to Enphase. So definitely not that great. And so for me today, there's primarily the target that Alfen don't need to grace, even if the 2-on-2 year-on-year revenue growth was crazy high. I just hope, or especially because of this reason, I hope they can be stable and cover the same revenue level. They have a long-term margin target EBITDA based of 15 till 20%, and I hope they can cover today roughly 10%. I would be already very happy with these numbers. My target is for this company that they are back on track in mid 2024, not today. But I think because the market is expecting not even at least something positive, uh, there's still there's still room for improvement and better prices. Because when I calculate or make a price assumption, for me the price is crazy low. Yeah, honestly, and not that low like Heimsenhurst, but still quite low for a company which is not a startup, not very new to the business, has a solid pipeline, solid customer base, tradition, history, and yeah, a very serious past, let's say it like this. But as you can see here, uh, before the last quarter results in August, they actually changed their guidance and already lowered them, as you can see here, by roughly 50 million, 50 till 80 million. That, of course, was another hit to the company. Actually, on this day, I thought about selling the stock, but I decided not to do it. However, and I would say we already can check right now if there are some new results. And as you can see here, they are improves EBITDA compared. Okay, I'm not sure if that's convincing at all. But however, at least we know now that the results are released. Yes, okay, trading update. As you can see here, presentation as well. Looks good. However, I will not jump right now. And if you like, you can check out by yourself the results, because I first want to tell you what I want to set the focus today on, and then we'll jump into the results. But just that you have seen it here, this is the performance of the stock in the past, and especially as you can see here, they reached their peak last year August, and then dropped heavily, and had a small rebound in the past weeks, but nothing which we need somehow to focus. And this is a European company. Currency in Netherlands is euros. So you have seen it once here, the current currency exchange rate, US dollar, euro. So for $1 you get currently roughly 0.93 euros. So it's a little bit weaker than the euro, but you can almost calculate it 1-to-1 when we just zoom out basically and look at the company on a superficial level. All right. So as I mentioned, I want to tell you something about the factors, the parameters I want to set the focus today on. And we quickly jump in. Guys, don't worry. It will take maximally, I think, 5 minutes more, and then we check out the numbers. But this time, checking out the numbers, I expect will not take too much time, even if the reports of them, the releases, are a little bit more text driven and not so much tables and well structured numbers existing, in my point of view at least. But still very good information existing. But I will not read through all the texts today. So I was just set, as always, to focus on the numbers which counts me the most. And which are the numbers which counts for me the most? Of course, as always, revenue and EPS development. I already mentioned revenue, constant base, 110 million euros. So I will switch now in euro. Euros quarterly turnover, I would be happy. So the same more or less what they've accomplished last quarter. And EPS development, as I mentioned, EBITDA margin based on revenue, roughly 10%. I think last quarter was 7.5%, so very low. I hope they already recover a little bit. Actually, I don't have too much hope. They even by themselves didn't created some expectations or desires or demands that a shareholder should now expect they will recover very quickly. That will not be the case. And even if the headline or the thumbnail of today is finally charged up, very likely Alfen has not charged up. I don't expect it, but there is a chance for positive surprise. However, what will happen today, next quarter, and even the ones after, is not that important for me. For me, it's getting interesting Q2, Q3 next year. So half year from now on, then it's getting really interesting. But as I mentioned, there's already now potential existing. However, what kind of terms or what kind of aspects we should need to cover today and set a higher focus? That's for sure the continuous guidance coverage. So stepping back and taking a look at their results of the past quarters, it looks, compared to some other companies I'm a shareholder of, it looks basically like a mess. Don't want to lie about this. As you can see here, red, whatever. Of course, it's not so well covered by investing.com, but still they missed heavily, especially as you can see here. August 2022 guided 98 million as revenue and just reached 61, so 30% they missed. So something like this is not good for the trust level and the confidence of the shareholders. So from my perspective, now it's not about somehow reaching new limits and new peaks or whatever, and perform maximum crazy. For me now, it's honestly very important that they just reach the level they already accomplished by the great results of past year. Keep in mind 76% year-on-year growth and being profitable at the same time. Yeah, so it's not just growth driven. Yeah, um, because of extreme great demand in the European Union. However, as you can see, it's always roughly 110 million, and I want that they keep this. I want that they create a certain level of trust uh, in regard of their shareholders, and people are starting again to get interested into the stock and buying the shares. Basically, yeah, that's basically the case. So then we have another topic, which is and of course no correction of the guidance like last August, yeah, as I showed you a moment ago. Then the second point is the success in the strategic sales rollout. So as you have these three different product lines: substations, chargers, and batteries. And basically, I like to see that the substations more or less being constant. Yeah, maybe they grow off a little bit, 10%, 5%, 15, 20. It's fine for me, absolutely fine. Yeah, so they should not get hit too heavily, impacted negatively. But as far as long as they stay solid, I'm a satisfied shareholder of Alfen. But in terms of EV charger stations, it looks different. So that was the star of the past, and I liked that they lived through another compact of this product line. And I know, or they communicating. Alfen communicates that they have a quite loyal customer base, and the customer base is communicating as well that the demand and of their solutions of EV chargers will raise for sure next year. So Alfen itself, they state this business year as a gap year, yeah, and just creating stocks, prepare for the next wave of huge demand of the market for the next years, which I'm quite confident it will come because I'm very convinced by the sector. I'm not sure when you are located in the EU or not, or in Europe, but you know that a lot of investments and subsidies, funding programs and supports, financial supports, governmental sided and EU driven, are existing here. Yeah, so it's one of the topics over here, and so Alfen was one of the top players here in their product lines, and I'm convinced they will be again. Yeah, and the macroeconomic situation is that solid, even if there's some headwind going on at the moment. But as soon as the comeback of the sector takes place, I'm very confident that Alfen will participate in a very positive way. And the third product line, coming back to the second point here, the battery energy storage systems. I want to see that the demand is even and the sales are raising even more crazy and more higher. I think they already they reached let me check this, but they reached already some stuff like 500% year on year growth. Of course, the base of it wasn't that large, but in the end, uh, you can see that Alfen stated they had a backlog of 170 million euros, and just 85, so 50% of it, 85 million euros should get realized within this business year. And if they are doing it just based on these battery systems, yeah, they can already celebrate a year-on-year growth if there's not any additional sales or whatever or projects which get realized. We can already expect a year-on-year growth in the BSS business of 216%, yeah, to 144 million euros. So that will be a crazy strong driver. Hopefully in the next years as well. A lot of different wind farms, as for instance, get equipped or are currently tendered to get equipped with battery systems, for instance, to create stronger stability of the electrical grid, having better prices when selling the energy capacities and resources, for instance, and yeah, just being solid and stable even if wind is not existing and not losing any potential, of course, so just basically saving the electrical power for sure, yeah. And yeah, so that is the plan I want to see, or these are the aspects I want to see when we talk about the strategical rollout of the products, and of course the reduction of the inventory. I would say, let's basically, you can, yeah, interpret it like this. They have currently a stock of existing or soon existing inventory of 195, roughly 195 million euros, which is a lot. And they already stated that Alfen very likely maybe need to even dump those products under the list price or way under the list prices to release the stock. Yeah. And I want to see that the inventory definitely shrinks and not stays on the same level as it is at the moment. So this is the three aspects we will take a look today, or at the earnings results. And then there are some additional midterm aspects. As you can see here, they ramped a new factory, or basically they build it up at the moment. It should go live next year, beginning of next year. It's completely focused on battery energy storage systems to cover a higher demand of this business line. So perfectly, in my opinion, perfect strategical decision that they expanded over here, invested 10 million euros in the sector, and even in automation solutions of the other product lines as well. A lot of money compared to a quite tiny company. And yeah, I want to see that this is working well, and they very likely they will comment it on the future quarters results as soon as the factory is working. Yeah, and when the demand is raising, and of course then it needs to raise because they hire new staff members, other resources, yeah, commodities, invest in factory expansion and plants. So basically, of course, it should as well. The demand should existing of the market. Otherwise, that would be a huge fail. I'm convinced this will be the case. However, nobody knows. That is definitely highly attached with risk. Then we have the fifth point. They have a revenue target achievement of 2025 till 2027 of 1 billion euros. Therefore, when you calculate with 2026, the mid-year, which they stated, they need now, or let's say in the next years, a growth per annum of an annual growth of 25%. Realistic, but they for sure not will cover it this year. And without a comeback of the charging stations, without an increasement of the BSS solutions, there's no way they will cover this. Yeah, substations for sure will not cover this as well. And yeah, so EV charging stations definitely need to support right here to cover this 1 billion euro target. And the last point of the midterm section is solid EBITDA level. As I mentioned, 15 to 20% is stated by them on the midterm range. And at the moment it's lower, and I hope they will come back here as well. This is very difficult in my opinion. Revenue, I'm quite convinced, but EBITDA, the profit side, I'm not 100% sure. And on long-term regional expansion, as I mentioned, they are primarily active in Europe. The substations are actually only getting sold in 4 different countries. And so I think they will not expand, but maybe the battery solutions I think are very adequate and appropriate to expand in even other continents. Yeah, as they already created a deal, Japan, for instance. Yeah, so Asian markets they open it at the moment only Europe, maybe even the US. We will see. And then, of course, the development of the governmental and the European-driven subsidies. Yeah, that's a big aspect. Uh, the renewable sector is driven by subsidies and funding programs. There's nothing to doubt about this fact. Of course, the demand is existing. They're adding value in a lot of perspective. I'm not sure if it's always a financial good investment to invest in a wind farm, PV park, in some private owned battery system or solar panels on the roof. Not sure, not an expert here, and it will very likely not always be the case. But fact is, as soon as you get some subsidies, tax reduction acts, or whatever, it can be worth it. And this kind of stuff is driving the demand of Alfen and other players in the market. Okay, but Maybe let me check if I missed something. Yeah, so to maybe to fetch it out, yeah, from my side, what is positive? I mean, of course, they maybe badly executed in the past, calculated badly because of the large inventory they are working with at the moment. But on the same side, on the same side, they they are basically well positioned on the midterm. The market trend can come back in Europe, yeah, even stronger. With political tailwind even more, especially in markets which are currently not so well driven. But here, of course, we need to take care as well of the political situation in the countries in Europe. A lot of them getting a little bit more independent in terms of their political direction and not so EU or European focused, and therefore maybe they will not cover some sustainable businesses by the head government. However, uh, there's still some positive momentum which we can assume will happen, and of course, um, overall, I mean, what we need to keep in mind as well, the stock, why it dropped so heavily. It was overvalued historically. Yeah, nothing to add here. Yeah, European stocks companies are not the stars at the moment. Yeah, are not so highly essential. All eyes on the US, on the regular fun stocks, or however you call them, Magnificent Seven, or whatever. These get the focus, not the European stocks at the moment, not the small caps, and not the renewable sector. These four aspects are all quite negatively affecting the existence of Alfen and the stock. But in my opinion, yeah, maybe there's a lot of trash, yeah, or dirt or whatever existing, and you really need to select in the renewable sector. Maybe that's the case, yeah. And I don't want to talk bad about any other company, yeah. But in the end, I'm convinced that, and that's the reason why I invest in it. And even if I own only six single stocks, and this is number fourth of my favorites ones, yeah. So even not the last one, even if it sounds like this, yeah. So I preferred over Perion. I preferred over Indie Semiconductor, which had great results. But why I still prefer the stock? Just because I think the value is so great, the potential is so great. It's just a perfect player for the perfect market in the perfect region, which is the European Union. Yeah, in the Europe. Maybe Alfen would not have a great chance in Asia, and there's a lot of competition coming right now from Asia actually, and even other markets and Scandinavia, for instance. And we will see how this will work out because, as I mentioned, in the EV chargers business, they have been the first mover. But this is not the case anymore at the moment. And now the competitive situation will be more intense basically. Okay, however, okay guys, I would say just jump right into it. As again, sum it up, my target is 110 million euros revenue for this quarter and 10% EBITDA based on revenue. Both of these targets are not that simply to cover. However, I'm confident it will work out somehow. So let's go and jump right into the results. Now it's getting interesting, guys. So sharing my screen, taking a last sip before very likely I start crying because of the bad results of this company. But we will see. However, okay, let's jump right into it. Maybe we check the presentation, which looks always a little bit better in my perspective. Okay, 14 November, as you can see, that's the updated one. Oh, all right, all right, all right. That's great. That's already great. I mean, as I mentioned, I would be happy about a solid, stable, constant revenue of 110 million, and they already crushed it with 136 million. So that's for sure a surprise. Last quarter, year on year, they had 9%. Now they have 11%. That's fine as well. So great, great. not going down as close as other companies in the business. Of course, they are B2B, others are B2C sometimes, but I showed you Solar Edge, First Solar, Enphase Energy, all of them get knocked more heavier, and this is already very solid. And then we have here the margin. We will check later on how it is. You can see, okay, you can see here it is. Great. Compared with, okay, great. Of course it is lower than 1 year ago, but as I mentioned, 10% was the target, and honestly I didn't thought they would cover it, because they achieved 7.5, 7.6% last quarter. So 5% more compared to last quarter is just simply amazing in a period of time where very likely nobody is expecting that Alfen will somehow performance anyhow. Yeah? So that's simply great, and reiterates its full guidance 490 to 520 million. So they basically just, I think, let me check if that was, oh no, that's wrong. Let me check if they, yeah, so they just make sure, or they just ensure and communicate that the stated target outlook is still solid. Okay, perfect. Let's jump right into the different product lines, I would say. So first of all, to make it a little bit more with structure. Sorry guys, my head is really burning and my throat is getting less stronger and stronger by minute. So I give my best for you. However, revenue and EPS development is from my side definitely located in the green area. Revenue 136, I expected 110, 11% year-on-year growth, very strong in my opinion, in a period where they're not working with so much headwind. And EPS development, yeah, it's still quite low with 12.5% based on revenue. However, they guided way, or they expected lower in the past quarters and reached lower. And I mentioned I want to cover at least or see 10%. Now they have 12.5, so that's definitely something positive. We need to uh, fixate here right now. Okay, and let's go on with now the product lines, which is very interesting. For me, honestly, EV charging is not the most interesting, even if it's making sure that the EBITDA profit level is on a high scale. I want to see more the heavy increasement of the battery storage system, so the new factory will get used and not staying left without any action inside. I'll drink a little bit more, honestly, because today of my sickness. However, what can we see here? So 51% quarter over quarter. The usual business dynamics were from, oh man, that's year on year. Yeah, that's again, of course, very bad. I think last quarter they had year on year 56%. It is how it is. Maybe let me check quickly what was the uh, result last quarter. But it's already good that one of the first sheets is EV charging. Yeah, last time it was one of the last, and you could already imagine that it will be not so great. 36%. Okay, it's even worse than I expected. So that was last quarter results, and but this is for the year. Okay. Okay. However, it will not be great. It will not be great. We don't need to invest so much time over here. From outside Netherlands, okay, at least they are regionally active in new areas. Okay. Okay, and that is not so convincing, yeah, because as you can see, the fundament now is very low. Q2, Q3 was not so successful, and to increase by the results by 15 to 20%, yeah. Okay, but it is at least they guide it already. Now that's very fair. They don't need to guide it already now. even not next quarter, but they're doing already it now, one quarter earlier than other companies. So you can already calculate with this, and that's the truth right now. Yeah, so at least they think it gets stabilized and comes slightly a little bit back on track. Okay, we go now to the smart grid solutions. As I mentioned, for me, here it's more important, solid one, but that's actually huge. Yeah, 41% is definitely huge. That's definitely huge. Yeah, and then especially when we talk about that, this sector, this product line is really adding margin to the business. Okay, let's see what is here the guidance. I think they already stated here. Be in line with Q3 revenues for this. We expect growth. Okay, that's great. I mean, already 40% year over year. That's amazing. They have some big contracts, for instance, with one of the, I think the third largest grid provider in electrical grid provider in the Dutch market. So this kind of stuff really brings the money in for the next. There's always exclusive deals of a certain amount of percentage of substations, stations a grid provider is using, and this is a reliable and valid and verified income basically, which you can calculate with. So that is quite solid in my opinion. 20% here. This could be higher in my opinion, especially because the fundament is quite low located. However, I give this one maybe a yellow color, this one a green one, and then we have energy storage systems, which is of course something which is for me driving the investment thesis so strongly. If this would not be existing, I would not be interested honestly in this company. Yeah. Okay, you can see they tripled it. It's still quite a low base with 51 million, not too strongly. However, now we go into the expectations. So I think this is fine, absolutely fine. 51.5 million euros. But what I want to see right now is what is going on with the expectations for next year. As I mentioned, in this terms or in this regard of this company, I'm living in the future and not in the present. We expect okay, so they increase their backlog for next year, as you can see here. Wait. Maybe I zoom out a little bit. I just figured out that it's a little bit tiny for you. Or okay, I hope you can still see it, even if it's very, very small. However, so in 2000 we expect to grow this business line with at least 40% relative to 2023. Okay, so in my perspective, honestly, 40% is not that huge. Yeah, but keep in mind, please, the revenue target for 2026 is 1 billion euros. To achieve this target, they need to cover a, a year-on-year growth of 25%. And now we have 15 to 20% expectations in the EV charging line, 20% substations, and 40% of the battery energy storage systems. So I think if they can accomplish it, they will cover the expectations. That's already great. Even if I would like to see here a higher number, but maybe they are sandbagging and just making sure that not telling any bullshit, any fairy tales, Ooh, need to be careful here. Okay, so going back to the targets of today, I think this is absolutely fine, and we can mark it green for sure. And then when we talk about this one here, in my opinion, substations is green, 20% expected growth. The results are green. That's fine. I think this one is green. It's working well. And EV charger stations looks for me honestly that it will remain as a difficult field. So this one I color right now in yellow. Yeah, that is my opinion how this looks right now. So overall, when we mark the rest on the overall topic of the development of the strategical sales, it's green from my perspective. And now let's check out the inventory. It is stated here as number 3. Not that important, but however, is something what we need to consider, or what I want to consider at least. There's already the outlook, so maybe I open quickly the press release, and maybe I can see it there a little bit better. Okay, there we go. Hope you can see it. Year-on-year growth. Looks good. Here everything is structured, well displayed, in my opinion. As you can see, it's starting to look already a little bit better with 12.7. Here are the 7.6% I mentioned earlier. So it's recovering already a little bit. The adjusted EBITDAR is recovering. The revenue is recovering, or not only recovering, it's an all-time high. We should not forget, all-time high. But very likely mainly driven, as I mentioned, by battery systems and of course substations. Seems like substations had a very strong quarter. Okay, so now let's go to the inventory. Or not? Are they not even stating the inventory? What is going on? One moment. Okay, let's check here what they are stating. Okay, okay. This is this is the information we are looking for. In the past press release, they mentioned the exact number of the stock, and I'm not sure why they are not doing this right now. But in the end, they're stating, and we need to trust the companies we are investing in at the or otherwise there's no way to invest in some companies if you're not trusting the management somehow. In my opinion, it's definitely one of the requirements for a good investment. But you can see here they're stating, okay, destocking has its end. The demand is recovering and coming back and coming back to life, and that is what we want to see right here. So honestly, there's no aftermarket prices here for Alfen. Yeah, at least I can't see it by using investing.com. But if it would be a US company, for sure, in my opinion, it will raise right now, or not that slightly. Yeah, so this is a very positive outcome, um, and so to finalize the sheet right here, this one I would mark it in dark yellow, because honestly, okay, they're telling it comes to an end, and customers starting ordering again EV charging stations. That's great, but still no new numbers. Yeah, maybe there's a reason, and they couldn't just show it's already lowered heavily or whatever. So very likely it remains on a high level, I guess. Who knows if it's 195 million euros or not? But nothing which I would take positively. I take it now neutral. At least they are communicating, as I mentioned. Yeah, it's recovering. Guys, okay, so overall, I think when we fetch it up, yeah, revenue 136, EPS 12.5% on revenue, that looks great. Yeah, that's green for my side. Guidance is covered, no correction took place. The gap year is going to the finish line, yeah, so we can hope for better numbers. Success in the strategical rollout is going quite well. I mean, the let's go back again and share this again together. The result in terms of the substations is crazy with 41%. I think that's something huge, really huge. The market didn't calculate with, so that's crazy. Of course, that's very worse. EV charging worse when we think about this. Hey guys, when I take a look at this, I should mark it red. Honestly, I need to mark it red. Yeah, even if the expectations are okay, but the results today are really bad about EV charging. Substations very good. Uh, Battery storage systems very good. Yeah, so substations actually very impressive, honestly. However, so I mark this as red. So overall, if I would need to give a color for this call in terms of traffic lights, I would mark it as, yeah, dark green. Dark green, let's say it like this. Green, yellow, yeah. And this is more I can ask for. Yeah, so when we fetch everything together, I expected, as I mentioned, that it's a gap year like they stated it. They didn't make any expectations or created expectations on my side from raising targets somehow, and they still had a revenue, best revenue ever, best revenue substations, best revenue battery storage systems. EV charging is dropping lower and lower, and I guess it will still handled like a stepchild somehow, not like the good son everyone likes. Um, the inventory, don't know. I mean, it's something which I've added here. Would I like to set the focus on, but I don't want to rate it too highly. Yeah, but it's not positively stated in the press release too heavily, yeah, at least. However, I can't ask for more. I'm very happy about these results. I'm very interested what how the market will trade tomorrow. Uh, the results, and um, I'm very confident it will be positive. It already recovered in the past days, I think by roughly 10%, something like this. And I could imagine that today, 5 till 10% is not unrealistic in the positive way. We will see if this will be the case. I don't think the focus on the stock is too high, and sometimes these kind of stocks, they need a lot of time, so the appearance takes place and people are recognizing it again, coming back to it, have creating trust, as I mentioned. You can't expect or ask for that after one good earnings result on the quarter, everything is in good mood and everyone has good vibes and is convinced by the company, the management, and the product sector. I'm already it, but I speak for myself and I will keep and be invested in the stock for sure. Um, right now, let me check again as one of my last tasks for today, the chat. So again, alles Aktien, du hast durchgehalten wahrscheinlich, ja. Ja, war heute bisschen schaukelig, muss man sagen. Wie gesagt, die Gesundheit hat auch nicht mitgespielt und anscheinend auch nicht die Gesundheit der Technik, so ist das halt manchmal. Aber vielen lieben Dank, dass du durchgehalten hast, falls du es bist. Falls es jemand anderes ist, natürlich auch vielen lieben Dank. Ähm, ja, ich wünsche dir auf jeden Fall alles Gute bei deinem Channel. Es ist wirklich beeindruckend, dass du in so einer kurzen Zeit schon so eine Performance hingelegt hast. Ich wäre mit 10% zufrieden und bin schon damit zufrieden, was ich jetzt von meiner Seite aus geschafft habe, weil ich auch verstehen kann, dass nicht immer alles perfekt läuft sozusagen und natürlich auch die Zuhörerschaft seine Präferenzen hat, ganz einfach, ne? Und auch viel Wettbewerb draußen ist. Ich wünsche dir auf jeden Fall alles Gute mit deinem Channel, ne? Und mit Sicherheit läuft man sich auch mal wieder im, äh, im deutschen Forum, im Wertpapierforum über den Weg. Also bis dahin alles Gute und bleib gesund. Nicht, dass es dir ergeht wie mir, weil bei mir geht es, glaube ich, gerade ziemlich bergab, ehrlicherweise. Okay, and back to English. Just was some polite words, some kind words to my colleague of the board, Alles Aktien, who is active here as well in the chat. As I mentioned, check out his channel, and maybe you can get some great ideas as well for other stocks. Honestly, as I mentioned, I'm quite surprised that everything is going so well, and even now we I think 5 of 6 companies I'm owning announced their results. 5 of them have been honestly quite positive, very positive. And on Tuesday, if the health status is working with me, I think I will guide as well, new, a little bit better prepared, and hopefully a little bit more healthy, as I mentioned. And if they cover as well, then we have a royal flash. Yeah, when we talk in poker language. So if then all of the 6 performed very good, and that's great. I can just recommend you. Maybe it was interesting for you guys, and it is a start for doing further research on Alfen company. I recommend you to do this. Maybe it's not the perfect time to invest right now. Maybe it's better to wait 1 or 2 quarters more. Maybe then it's the price already increased very heavily. If they perform well, maybe they perform even worse, and you can get it cheaper. I honestly, for me, market timing is sometimes a little bit difficult. For me, it's already a fair priced company, as I mentioned at the beginning of the stream. So therefore, I have decided to be already invested and just purchase new stocks if the price get lower and lower. And I already did this twice at this company. That's the reason why I have still 7,000 US dollars of stocks of Alfen. And as I mentioned, I'm motivated still to purchase further shares if required. However, maybe it's better to wait one more quarter, could be the case. However, maybe, however, if you are located in the US or wherever you're located, it could be interesting that you just check tomorrow the price level of Alfen and see how it will develop. As I mentioned, if I need to bet something right now, I would bet in the direction that 5 to 10% is very realistic. They will go up tomorrow. Let's see if this was really the case. Let's see if the audience see it the same. I didn't read the text in detail of the press release. Maybe I'm missing something. However, that's my bet, 5 to 10% up tomorrow. And even that's not important, as I mentioned. For me, it's just important what will happen in roughly 1 year, Q2, Q3, 2024. That is when, for me, it counts and the essential numbers getting released today. It was just for me as well a gap quarter result. And yeah, the truth will come to the surface next year, in my opinion. Yeah, when the factory is active and all other demands should be back to life, as I mentioned. So thank you very much again for switching on and joining the stream. Take care of yourself, stay healthy, and see you next time. Very likely on Tuesday, if not in the next Insights time episode in the beginning of December next month. Yeah, we see you. We see you. time to switch off, guys. I need to step into the bed. All the best. Take care. Bye bye.